Hello friends, welcome to the Seated Scribe, and I am rudrashisdatta. Today I will be reviewing for the first time in this channel a Waterman workhorse, the Waterman Hemisphere Mars Black with gold trims and a fine nib. Waterman pens have been serving several generations of writers across continents, and one of the unique features of Waterman pens are their consistency with regard to nib width, consistency with regard to designs, and consistency with regard to performance irrespective of the age of use. So, this is the pen that I will be reviewing today. So, without any further delay, let us flip the camera and go to the pen. Usually most Waterman pens come in cardboard jackets like this. Now, if we open the jacket and keep it aside, this is a cardboard box which houses the pen. They have supplied the pen with the proprietary Waterman cartridge. Let me see if there is anything else. Yes, there is the typical user manual cum warranty information. Now, let me keep this aside and look at the pen. So, this is the pen. There is a brand cum price sticker. Let me put it aside. Yes. So, this is the Waterman Hemisphere Mars gold trim fountain pen with a fine nib. So, this section is made of lacquer. It is shiny, and as is the case with most Waterman pens, the finials, especially at the cap section, that is unique. It's neither curved nor flat, but slanting with the downward slope matching the clip which contains the Waterman logo. This is the typical clip of Waterman pens, and this is not a screw around pen, this is a push lock system. Let me keep it aside. So, this is the pen with Waterman Paris written on this gold band. This is a fine nibbed version. It's actually a steel nib with 18 karat gold plating. The feed is plastic. This section is plastic as well, the grip section. It's shiny. Let me open and see what is inside. So, they have fit in a Waterman cartridge, and let us look at the structure of the pen. Sorry. Well, as we can see, the grip section is fairly long. There is a flare at the junction of the nib and the grip section. It slightly tapers down, and then it slightly flares up in a gradual slant, and then there is a step up here at the place of the gold band, and the pen slightly tapers down in the barrel to the other end of the finial, which is flat. So, this is a pen which has a typical longish cigar shape. The clip is not spring loaded, it's fit in here, but it's fairly tight. So, this is the pen. Now, one aspect of this pen which perhaps may bother some users is this section is shiny black and may attract fingerprints. Yes, and this section too is pretty slippery to hold, and this may be a problem with those who have sweaty fingers. Otherwise, this pen is perfectly balanced and would be a very good writing instrument. Now, let me weigh this pen up and see how much it weighs without the ink in the cartridge. Okay, so the pen weighs 22 grams with the cap and 12 grams without the cap. So, the dry weight of the pen is 12 grams. So, let me keep it aside. Now, let me ink this pen up and see how the pen fares under writing circumstances. So, I am inking this up with Colorverse Blue Black. Now, let me use the pen on 100 GSM sheets. Now, this is a fine nibbed version of the pen. Well, even for a fine nib, I find this pen fairly wet. The upstrokes are wet too, as are the slant strokes. With regard to nib variations, the nib is fairly tough, so there won't be much variations in terms of calligraphy like thickness in the upstrokes and the slant strokes. So, okay. So, all in all, this is a very smooth writer even for a fine nib standard, and as I see, this section is pretty slippery and may be an issue with prolonged writing for those who may have sweaty fingers. Otherwise, this pen is just having the right length and the right thickness of the gripping section and would be a very pleasant writer. There is one issue with Hemisphere pens. The medium nib versions of these pens, they are slightly thicker than the usual medium. So I took this fine nib version to test its thickness and its wetness with regard to writing on ordinary paper, and I find that it is fairly smooth, more on the wetter side compared to the usual fine nib, and is otherwise an excellent writer. It's comfortable to hold, it's comfortable to control, and it just ticks the right boxes. So this is the Waterman Hemisphere mass with a fine nib gold trimmed version for you. Thank you.